Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be having a look at how we can improve some Pokemon that have tremendous potential to be really good in Pokemon Go Battle League, but are just held back by some very lackluster movesets. So, I absolutely love having a look at Pokemon that have the stats to be really good, but you know, they're lacking, and I love looking at how we can improve upon particular Pokemon's movesets. So that is what we will be doing. All of the Pokemon in this video have tremendous potential to be bona fide top tier meta threats, and we're going to be looking at how we can improve them. So without further ado, let's dive right in. All right, guys, kicking things off, we've got Alomomola here. A lot of us know this very tanky fish from the Love Cup. That is where it is generally most effective. Outside of the Love Cup, the only specialty cup that it's good in, it is just not effective at all. And that's because it's held back by its very limited moveset. It only has nuke moves. So I want to look at improving this thing. Look at the stat product on Alomomola. 2293, guys, to put that into perspective. We are bulkier than Lickitung. Would you have ever guessed? We're bulkier than Lickitung at 2293. Lickitung's stat product comes in at 2283. So we're right there. We've got Lickitung bulk. We've got slightly better Lickitung bulk. That kind of bulk going to waste is an absolute travesty. So let's look at Alomomola here as it stands. Recommended moveset, Waterfall, Hydro Pump, Psychic. I would like to change and improve upon the Alomomola by giving it Liquidation and Shadow Ball. Both Liquidation and Shadow Ball. I can learn both of these moves in the main line. But before we dive into that, let's look at how it is as is. So in the twos, we're not looking so hot, guys. We're at a 40% win rate. That's not very good. I generally like to see a 50% win rate or higher. So not great in the twos, as you can imagine. Let's look at the ones here. 32% win rate in the ones. Not very good. We need to help our tanky fish here. And then the zeros, we actually are looking pretty good, as you can imagine, with nuke moves. Especially one with Stab and Hydro Pump. We're actually pretty good in the zeros, believe it or not, as is. So if you want a solid closer to throw some people off, you could dust off your Alomomola as is. It would be a very effective closer, picking up wins over Steelix, Bastiodon, Carbink, if you can imagine. We're going to be beating Gligar, of course. Mandibuzz in the zeros. That's very interesting. But as interesting as it is in the zeros as is, I think we can improve that. So let's have a look here. Let's put Liquidation in the move pool here. We're adding Liquidation, and we're also adding Shadow Ball, which you can learn, which is very, very interesting. So now, with my recommended moveset, let's look at Alomomola now. So we go up in the twos. Still pretty decent, pretty average in the twos. We go up to a 50% win rate. That's what I like to see. Of course, we're beating Charizard, those ground types like Gligar, the rock types like Carbink. Doing well up against Swampert, Diggersby, as you can imagine. So we're decent, but we're not quite getting the wins that I really want to see, like a Azumarill. We're not quite getting. Very close. So Azumarill, we're not getting. What else are we missing here? Reggie, I don't think we'll ever get Reggie. We're not getting DD. We're not getting Medi. We can't have that. But that's okay. In the twos, I wouldn't lead with it with this potential moveset. But we can look at the ones here. And here we go. 57% win rate in the ones. We are looking really good once those shields start getting down, guys, with Liquidation and Shadow Ball. So we're keeping Steelix. We're keeping all of the matchups we should be winning, but we're also getting Medicham, guys. Both Ice Punch and Power Up Punch Medi in the ones. That's massive. That's another answer to Medicham, who is absolutely dominating the Open Great League right now. Same goes for DD. One of the most common leads you will encounter and we're picking up Azu. Those are the three that I really have my eye on targeting. We need some stronger answers in the meta to these Pokemon. But Licky Tongue does escape, if you can imagine, having Shadow Ball. But you could also run Liquidation Psychic, and I do imagine perhaps that would change things. Let's have a quick peek here. I hadn't even looked at Psychic Liquidation for Licky. Let's see, Licky Tongue. No, we still don't beat Licky, but that's okay. You can't get them all. But as you can see, adding these two moves, which it can learn, would drastically improve its performance overall in the Open Great League, which I'm all for. Picking up Azu, DD, and Medi in the ones. Sign me up. Let's look at the zeros here quickly. And yeah, 59% win rate. We're getting up there. We're not in that broken territory. And believe me, if you want to break a Alomomola, you can do that pretty easily, guys. Let me tell you. It can learn Surf and Body Slam as well. I did look at those, and the win rate is just insane, and that would break a Alomomola. But I think some moderate additions to its move pool, like Liquidation or Shadow Ball, I think those are fair. And the zeros, it performs very well as a closer. Slightly higher than it is as is. It's about 55% right now, but with my suggestions, it would go up quite a bit. Not completely broken. Again, the broken territory for me is in that, you know, when we get into the 60s, mid 60s and up, that's broken. But we're not there. We're just still very strong in the zeros. So that's what I want to see for Alomomola, guys. I think it has all the potential in the world at a 2293 stat product. That is phenomenal. Guys, obviously, Licky Tongue's about as tanky as it gets. We're slightly bulkier than Licky Tongue. So, yeah, that kind of bulk, just going to waste with a subpar moveset, man, that just doesn't feel right. So that's what I would suggest for improving upon Alomomola. And if that were to ever happen down the line, look out. Alomomola would be putting in some work in the Great League. So that's what I want to see for Alomomola. Let's have a look at improving another Pokemon in the Great League. All right, guys, up next, we've got Alolan Muck and Alolan Grimer as a little bonus. So this change here I'd like to see for both of these Pokemon. It's not uncommon to see an evolution line get a sweeping move injected into their move pool. So I throw Alolan Grimer in there as well. But for the sake of accessibility, we're going to focus on Alolan Muck, which is actually bulkier than Grimer. So Alolan Muck, I want to see it get Body Slam. It can learn this in the main line. And at a 1906 stat product, that bulk is comparable to something like a Vigoroth, a Nidoqueen, or even Pidgeot or Clefable. So we're talking middle of the road bulk, but still functional bulk in the Open Great League. And as of now, of course, we have to rely on Acid Spray Dark Pulse. And Acid Spray has Nuke Move energy, but of course that trade-off as it lowers that defense by 3 stages. But I think relying on a move like that is holding Alolan Muck back. And let's look at that first. So in the twos, we're actually pretty solid. We're at just about a 55% win rate in the twos. We're actually doing okay, and that's because we can shield up, lower that defense by 2 stages, and just go to town with poison jabs. But when those shields start coming down, so let's look at the ones here. We're lacking here a little bit. That win rate goes right down to a 36% win rate. Not great. And then the zeros, as you can imagine, not great either. 22% win rate. That is awful. So I propose perhaps giving it Body Slam, a more functional bait type of move, of course, as we can imagine. So let's put Body Slam on Alolan Muck. And let's have a look at Alolan Muck with Body Slam. So let's put the twos on. And there, okay. So now that's a bit alarming. That jumps up from a 55% win rate to almost a 64% win rate. That is getting into my broken territory. It's a bit alarming, but I think the lack of bulk, not the bulkiest, it has sort of slightly below average bulk, I would say. I think that would even out, but in the twos, we are winning a lot. We're beating Medi, which is nice. We're beating those grass types. That's really why I wanted to look at Alolan Muck, because I think the grass types with Community Day moves are getting very annoying. People have caught on. Grass is back and never hasn't been. It's better than ever. Most notably Serperior and Venusaur. Those two, especially Venusaur, because it does hit a little harder, but Serperior is not far behind with that bulk. They're getting very annoying. So I think a new poison type into the meta with a functional moveset, I think, would not be a bad idea. It's not the bulkiest, so it's not 64% win rate in twos. It's a bit alarming, but I think the lack of bulk sort of evens out. But let's look at the ones here. And not bad. We're back down to earth. We're up from the 36% win rate to a very respectable 55% win rate in the ones with Alolan Muck. And I think that by buffing Alolan Muck with Body Slam, that would sort of also indirectly buff ground types and steel types. Steel types have sort of been lacking this season. And that's understandable with Gligar, Medicham, Deoxys being quite common in the meta. So buffing a poison type, I think, would indirectly buff steels, and we'd be seeing more steels and ground. Swampert's kind of fallen off a bit as well, just due to Licky Tongue. Medicham Core just sort of is a bit too much for Swampert to handle, so we don't see it used as much. But in the ones, let's look at this here. We're obviously bringing those very annoying grass types down to earth, the ones with Calm Day moves. We've got Azu, we've got DD. We actually lose Licky in the ones, surprisingly. Licky actually outbulks us, but it's very close. Slight energy lead or shield advantage. We definitely do quite all right up against Licky. We've got Lantern, both Water Gun and Spark Lantern in the ones. Another check to Lantern. We've got Medi, both variations, Ice Punch, Power Up Punch, Medi. We get a Zoom Roll. So a lot of the top tier meta that people are using a lot in the Great League right now, we're addressing. We of course are not addressing Reggie, Basti. We don't get Carbink, surprisingly. That's just outbulk. It outbulks. But the ground types still keep Alolan Muck in check, even with Body Slam. So, and then the zeros, it's not great either. It's okay, but 45.5% win rate. So a Pokemon that certainly performs best with shields. Not completely made of paper. I mean, it's bulkier than something like a Sableye. Like I said, we've got around average, maybe slightly below average bulk at 1906. We've got Vigoroth, Clefable, Nidoqueen bulk. So we're not all that squishy, but definitely performs best when shields are up. And that's what how we're looking in the zeros. So that's what I would like to see for Alolan Muck. I think it'd be an excellent addition into its move pool and would make it a lot more enticing to use in the Open Great League. Would also address and sort of balance out a lot of the highly used Pokemon that we're seeing right now. So yeah, that's what I want to see for A-Muck, Body Slam. I want to also see it on Alolan Grimer as well as a nice little bonus. So yeah, that's what I want to see. Now let's have a look at another Pokemon that we could possibly improve. All right, guys, we now make our way to Alolan Marowak. This is one I'm very excited for. Has all the potential in the world, but doesn't have the best fast moves. Has a very strong legacy charge move in Shadow Bone, but the rest of its charge moves are just lacking, to be kind. So let's improve this Pokemon, guys. We've got a 2025 stat product. That's actually pretty good. Believe it or not, we are as bulky as Serperior. Serperior comes in at 2026. And at 2025 on Alolan Marowak, we're every bit as bulky as Serperior. Would you believe that? Did you know that? Alolan Marowak has the bulk, has the stats, and to compete in the Great League. It's just being held back by its moveset. So, and it has a very good typing as well. So that typing with that stat product going to waste, guys, we can't have that. We've got to give Alolan Marowak some love here. So let's look at it. It's recommended that we run Fire Spin, Shadow Bone, Bone Club. My improvement, add counter. You can see it right there on the screen. There's no doubt about that. 1000%. That's what it needs. Counter as its fast move. I would also be happy to see as a bonus, perhaps giving it Fire Punch as well into the move pool, and we'll look at why Fire Punch, but absolutely 1000% counter on AWAC, which it can learn in the main line. You've got to put in some work to get it in the main series, but it is possible. But before we get into my changes, let's look at it as is. So in the 2s, not great. Again, I like to see a 50% win rate or higher. We're below that at 43%. In the 1s, not doing so hot, guys. We're at a 39% win rate in the 1s. Not great. And in the 0s, we just fall off of a cliff at a very embarrassing 25% win rate. So let's change that. Let's give AWAC some love here. Let's give it counter. Let's put counter into its move pool here. And now let's see the magic, my friends. Let's put the 2s back on. It'll do fine with counter and as its fast move alone, but we'll look at why I think Fire Punch might be helpful as well. But let's look at it here with counter. Holy smokes, guys. We jump up to a very respectable and balanced 55% win rate here in the 2s. So with counter, we have the dark types, guys. We've got Obstagoon. We're dominating Registeel, as you can imagine, in Dugong. But we've got a Medi answer. Holy smokes. We've got a bona fide Metacham answer in counter AWAC. Even with counter being resisted, we still beat Medi. And Bone Club, not the greatest move, but it can get to it at a relatively decently fast rate with counter. Only 5 counters to a Bone Club. We've got DD, guys. Counter is the way to go. Umbreon, Venusaur, another grass answer, guys. Again, the Community Day grass types are they're not a secret anymore, and they're getting very annoying. And Victory Bell, of course, always nothing has changed. That thing will always be annoying until the end of time. So that's AWAC in the 2s. Let's look at the 1s here. Very good. Another very respectable 52% win rate in the 1s here. We're maintaining Medi, which is very, very good. We've got those steel types in Steelix, Basti. We're still doing quite all right up against, let me see here, Reggie, still doing good up against Reggie. So yeah, this is what's going to help AWAC. We drop Licky. We don't get Licky with counter. So that's why I want to perhaps see Fire Punch as well as counter as a nice little bonus. Not great in the 0s, so let's look at it with Fire Punch quickly. Again, I can live without it, but that's Fire Blast. We've already got Fire Blast in our move pool currently. Let's look at Fire Punch. Oh my gosh, if I can spell. Here we go. Fire Punch. There we go. All right, so now with Fire Punch, we actually pick up Licky. So that's why I wouldn't mind seeing that. Not in the 1s, but in the 2s and 0s. So if we put the 2s on, we go up to a 56 from a 54 to a 56. But most importantly, we've got another Licky answer, guys, with Fire Punch as a nice little bonus charge move, which it can learn. So, and that has Stab. Takes a little bit longer to get to than Bone Club, but it has Stab and would be very effective on it. Slightly more effective in the 2s than with Bone Club. But with Fire Punch, we get Licky. We don't get it in the 1s, but in the 0s, if we have the bonus Fire Punch in there, we do get Licky in the 2s and then the 0s. So that's why I've got Fire Punch up there. I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. It would be nice to be able to beat a Licky Tongue with that moveset. But again, not mandatory in my opinion. I think it'd be just fine with just adding counter, guys. It would vastly improve AWAC, and it would be a bona fide top tier meta pick just with counter alone. And again, Fire Punch would be nice and refreshing as well. Another Licky answer is never a bad thing in the current Great League meta. So that's how I would improve some Pokemon here. We're gonna do these 3, and again, Of course, there are always more Pokemon that we can look to improving, but that about wraps it up, guys. Let's see a whack get counter. Holy smokes, let's see it. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with these. I enjoy these deep dives and looking at how to improve certain Pokemon. So yeah, guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.